By 1970, Allegro published what he considered the pinnacle of his research, a book he thought would launch him into history as one of the world's great thinkers, The Sacred Mushroom and the Cross. In this book, Allegro exposes the foundation of Christianity as not only a derivative of astrotheology, but he also exposes that much of the mythology paralleling Christianity is firmly rooted in fertility cults and psychedelic drug use, especially that of the Amanita muscaria. Throughout the rest of his life, Allegro published several books, including the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Christian Myth, that furthered his research into this area. However, the publication of The Sacred Mushroom and the Cross, instead of launching Allegro as a famous thinker, destroyed his career. No scholar at the time would publicly debate Allegro on a point-by-point basis. They instead resorted to unfounded public attacks. However, hindsight is 20/20, and we, amongst many other researchers, think that Allegro, at least in large part, was correct. And some great thinkers are not recognized for their contributions until after their lives have ended. Allegro died on his 65th birthday, February 17, 1988. In May of 2005, John Allegro's daughter, Judith Ann Brown, published John Marco Allegro, The Maverick of the Dead Sea Scrolls. This book debunks most of the unfounded attacks against Allegro through the Allegro archives and his many missives.
The growth cycle of this mushroom is important to understand because our ancient ancestors who made these myths would watch this mushroom and see how it grew, and those attributes were applied to a deity. So the growth cycle is very important to understand. And just to run through this really quickly, the mushroom begins as a spore. These spores are too small to be seen individually by the naked eye. We can see clusters of spores. But the spore is like the seed of the mushroom. And the part of the mushroom that we can see is the part of the mushroom used to spread the seed. It is the phallic portion of the mushroom. The actual body of the mushroom is the mycelium that is below the ground and attaching itself to the roots of the tree. So the mushroom attaches itself to the roots of the tree, and it cannot live without this tree. These mushrooms live in a symbiotic, mycorrhizal symbiotic relationship with the tree. And they help the tree, they feed the tree nutrients, and the tree feeds them nutrients. So they kind of live in harmony together. So these mushrooms are seen as the fruiting body of the tree. Just as nature needs a tree to grow apples, nature also needs a tree to grow these mushrooms. And just as an apple is something that is used by nature to spread a seed, so is the mushroom. So we see three stages of the mushroom's growth cycle here, and the mushroom appears to be going through an egg stage. A lot of mushrooms do this. The Amanita is one of them that appears to look like an egg in this stage of growth. And it's white, and on the right here you see the red cap of the mushroom peering through. And what it is breaking through is called the universal veil. So the universal veil tears to expose the red cap of the mushroom. And it is a universal veil. It covers the entire mushroom. The universal veil covers the entire mushroom. So as the veil tears, as the red mushroom cap gets bigger and bigger, the veil peels itself across the top of the mushroom, and it leaves these remnants, these veil remnants that leave white spots on the mushroom. So now this is the male portion of the mushroom. These stages of growth of the mushroom are considered male phallic, as you see the mushroom getting stronger and stronger. So the mushroom cap is now completely outside the veil of the mushroom, and the veil of the mushroom has now attached itself to the rim of the cap of the mushroom, and it is concealing the gills of the mushroom. And as the mushroom cap expands further and further and further, this universal veil cannot stretch any further, and it begins to tear, and this is seen as the circumcision of the mushroom.
As the mushroom expands further, the universal veil separates itself completely from the underside of the cap, falls, and hangs on the stalk or stipe of the mushroom like a skirt. The amanita will continue to grow upward, flattening itself into a small table. One may wish to keep in mind that the Knights of the Round Table were, or are, if these knights ever evolved into the Knights Templars, the keepers and protectors of the Holy Grail. This is important to remember because the next stage in the growth cycle of this mushroom is the cup or grail stage. The mushroom cap continues to turn upward, and the cap becomes somewhat of a cup or chalice and will often hold the morning dew or rain. When the morning dew collects in the cup of the upturned mushroom cap, some of the psychedelic substances are drawn out of the mushroom and into the water. Consequently, the water is colored red like blood. Some of this bright red pigment from the mushroom's cap bleeds into the water. This, among other things, will fade the mushroom from a bright red into an orange-like or golden color. Although the psychedelic effects would not be nearly as intense as a belly full of mushrooms, one could literally take this golden-colored chalice-shaped mushroom and drink the blood of Jesus from the Holy Grail. Not only is this mushroom the literal Holy Grail, it is also the mythological phoenix. The phoenix is born from its ashes, but it will never live to leave its nest, for as it lifts its wings in attempt to fly, it bursts into flames and engulfs itself, leaving nothing behind but its own ashes, and the cycle continues. Here are the eggs in the nest, the colorful red eggs of the phoenix. The amanita resembles a red bird with wings. As the phoenix lifts its wings in attempt to fly, it bursts into flames and engulfs itself. As the fungus quickly decomposes, it leaves nothing behind but its own ashes, the millions of mushroom spores, and the hair-like mycelia attached to the roots of the tree that grow underground. And as the cycle continues, as the mushroom spores serve as the seed of the mushroom, seemingly planting itself in the same location over and over.
And these stories were created to pass this type of knowledge down. Easter is a great example of this. The Easter egg hunt is a mushroom hunt. You find the correct mushroom. It's a way of identifying the mushroom. Find us the correct mushroom and we'll get you a treat. And who better to go hunting these mushrooms, these colorful little egg-like mushrooms, or the big Holy Grail type mushrooms, who better to go find these mushrooms than little kids who can crawl up underneath these trees, rather than some big clumsy adult. These mushrooms have a symbiotic relationship with these trees, conifer trees. They love conifer trees, pine trees. They flourish under pine trees. And this mushroom is the hidden mushroom, hidden eggs. You can see here this big bright red mushroom is obvious on the screen, but just below it is one that's hidden. So you have to have a good eye. Depending on the season and depending on the area, these mushrooms can be gold as well. So they are the golden egg. We see these mushrooms reflected in our Easter cards as well. Kind Easter wishes, as the gnome is leaning upon the mushroom with his sacred text or his recipe book open. So we pass this knowledge down to our children. We initiate the children